listen. Cause we don't play with sound blast.
I'm hanging out with Michael Red from Lighta Sound and Low Indigo, and he was in Calgary last night giving a free workshop at Beat Drop. How did that go, Michael? How was the Calgary experience?
It was really fun. Yeah, no, I got a lot from it. It's, I mean, like a lot of the stuff that I was sharing is stuff that I like to reinforce just by speaking it. It helps me. It's like stuff that I'm pursuing to get a firmer grasp on as well and like integrate more. So, yeah, I had a great time. It was really inspiring, and I think it's actually going to inspire some potential other things in the future for doing more stuff like that.
I heard that one of the focuses of your talk was completing projects and seeing them through to their completion and finishing things before you start something new. Is that something that you've struggled with in the past?
Yes. It's common, and I feel because it's such a common thing, like I'm sure a lot of people feel like they might be the worst at it, but I think on average actually I have been particularly, I'm above the average or below depending on your viewpoint for stuff like that. So it definitely was with passion last night that I was delivering my personal strategies to execute that goal, to finish the project, and to move forward. Yeah.
Now, myself, observing you over the internet from Calgary, and watching what you're up to on the coast, you seem to have had a pretty productive year, and you've put out a few releases on your Low Indigo label. I'm wondering if you can tell me a bit about your Low Indigo project and what that entails.
Well, putting together those first two releases was definitely like sort of stamp and a statement as far as direction goes. And I mean, also, I think there was some stuff that could be positively viewed as risky on there. I certainly have other stuff that I could have put out that was more accessible or straightforward. So I was excited to take stuff that was kind of like to put stuff out there that's more like me holding my breath and like, yeah. And also, it being my own music, I knew that I could, I don't have, there's no dialogue with the artist. It's just for the inner dialogue that goes on in my brain.
Low Indigo started out as a blog. And how did you make the decision to move into producing records?
Well, it actually, the blog came also with the blog came with the events, but the events were kind of first.
So you were doing a monthly?
It was a monthly. It started off as a monthly at the Astoria in Vancouver, and then I felt I had to leave there because it compromised my actual some of the root intentions of Low Indigo. So it kind of started off with gathering the intentions and pieces of the vision first, and then events, and then I felt it was a good idea to start a blog, just to start cultivating the sound, start cultivating the spirit.
So you have put out 3 releases so far on Low Indigo this year. 2 of them are yourself. The most recent one is an EP called 2010 by Oakpick. Oakpick.
I believe it's Oakpick. Maybe it is Oakpick. It's not an English word. It's I mean, it should be OKKPIKK. Is the it's another it's owl in another language which escapes me right now, but that's his own kind of his short form.
And that recently got some love from Accelerator.
Yes, it did.
They gave away a track and had a nice write-up. Is that something, were you pursuing more high-level electronic music journalism, or did they discover you?
Through me working with New Forms, there was a partnership that was formed with Accelerator 2 years ago, possibly 3 years ago. So that was me utilizing that relationship. So yeah, I put forth the idea, and they were excited about it happily. So I rate Accelerator pretty high up. I'm not really a blog guy, or I don't really follow that many different sites on the internet, but they are definitely one who I basically pay attention to all of their free downloads and kind of research from there.
And your next release, coming out this month on Low Indigo, is Klein, who is a Calgary native, and he's been living out on the coast for a while. Can you tell me a little bit about that release?
Very excited about it. It, as well as the Oak Pick release and my own stuff. The startup of this label has been, I'm learning by doing. So things have taken their time. Klein's EP was ready at the start of the summer, and now it's December. It needed to take that time, and I believe it's quality enough material that it can stand to wait. And that's also one of the kind of mottos of Low Indigo too, is move only when it feels right, So it was being comfy with taking the time. So that's my long form way of saying it's been a long time coming, and I'll be excited to get it out there. And yeah, I'm very proud of that work. So I'm excited to share it and hopefully get it into as many ears as possible. Yeah.
The first time I ever saw you perform was actually here in Calgary at the Marquee Room, and you played with Tanya Tagak. And that show blew my mind. It was one of the most unique musical experiences I had seen to that point. Do you still collaborate with Tanya?
Yeah, we most recently we did her and I and Jesse Zubat, a very talented violin player. Some might say experimental violin player. He plays through lots of effects and plays things in unconventional ways. It was Tanya, Jesse, and myself that put together a score for a dance piece, a score for Santi, a dancer in Toronto. That's going to be this coming May. She's going to premiere that work. She's well known. She's very talented. And we're going to actually get a chance, the three of us, to go to Toronto for that premiere. And actually, originally she was going to play that piece of music that we improvised and kind of put together, recording it in a Vancouver studio. But she liked it so much that she's going to bring the three of us out to actually play live and for her to perform with it. And that's in May. So yeah, that was my most recent work with Tanya, and then we have some upcoming shows. Pretty excited about. Like I said, a few in Toronto and Barbados and Mexico. So that'll be fun. It's always fun to travel with Tanya too. So we're gonna have fun in that.
So when you're working with Tanya, she's a throat singer, and when I saw you perform in Calgary, you were incorporating field recordings that you had captured yourself on a trip up north. And I'm wondering, what is your ethos when it comes to capturing field recordings?
Part of it is that I like to remove the human element. I like to remove my own element. So I'll do things like I'll press record and then I'll walk away and actually be not in the vicinity. I'll do things like that. Sometimes if I have to be in the same place, I'll like try my best to like be still with my body and also with my mind, you know, and just be like, I'm not really here, and just try to capture the sound, pure sounds for what they are. And as well, when I'm working with sounds like that, I spend a considerable amount of time not just editing on like the physical sound, but making efforts to kind of dig out the soul and the song of the recordings. So like, you know, capturing the true personality of the wind, or actually not capturing it, but you know, highlighting it or showcasing it, or giving it a good container that honors it for what it is, and you know, kind of honors its own expression.
What are some of your favorite field recordings that you've captured, or maybe some of the most surprising sounds you've recorded yourself?
A lot come to mind. Well, actually, the first one that came to mind was actually up there, up in Cambridge Bay, in Nunavut. We were in Tanya's cabin, and I was collecting sounds and samples, and one of the ones was the wind through the chimney, and it was really like a wailing wind, like almost not singing, but yeah, more wailing, and it really, there was moments where I had some really strong personality that I was feeling. And then the other thing that popped into my brain immediately when you asked that question was on the Sunshine Coast in Gibson's. At one point in time, I lived in this house that definitely had stuff going on in it. It was an old house, and I set the mic out in the kind of the back porch, which the ocean was right there, so like waves, and to my experience, I believe there were some words, there was some whispering that I captured of a spirit or a few spirits. I think it sounds like it's a female voice that's whispering, and it's pretty distinct as well. So that's what came into my mind. It's not particularly my favorite, you know, what I work with the most, but that just, you know, I'm into capturing sound and audio of from the unseen world, or like indicators of the unseen world, you know. But I can say that I looked a little bit into EVP, like actually like people who pursue recording ghosts and like paranormal, and wow, I'm that stuff frightens me, and I'm not into it, and I do not want to invite that. And yeah, I looked into that world a little bit, like I think it must have been on the internet. I like peeked in and was like, whoa, you know, like I do my stuff from like, yeah, I'm in, you know, I'm not going to invite like, you know, that kind of stuff like ghosts. And, I mean, I'm interested in that world, and like I said, I'm interested in capturing aspects of that world, but I'm certainly not trying to find unfriendly spirits, or like, you know, just like more maybe natural, or, you know.
I want to talk to you about your live performance.
Mm-hmm.
You are one of the first people that I saw use Ableton to perform live. And I know that you use various versions of Ableton in your performances to do, I guess, different things. how do you see Ableton? How does it work for you as a tool to produce music live? What does it allow you to do that I guess your more traditional forms of performance don't?
Well, I mean, I can simulate crazy setups. Like if they were hardware, like, well, it would be physically impossible to travel with stuff like that. You know, all the interface that I've built up. So, yeah, I'm able to play with the things that I love. Like all sorts of like different delays and feeding delays into each other, and that kind of world is endless.
Were you quick to embrace the technology when it came out, the software, or did it take you a while to get into it?
I was into Ableton from the start. Like from the start of when I got onto it. I got Ableton 4, so that's when I bought Ableton for the first time. A friend of mine, Michelle Irvin, who goes by Granny Arc, very talented DJ and producer. Yeah, she was using Ableton, so I looked. It sounded really good, and so I got it, and yeah, from that point on, great stuff. I never looked back and never questioned it. I got into like computer software, that interface later. I did hardware first, and gradually stepped up. You know, I was using Cubase just as a MIDI sequencer on an Atari to like trigger hardware samplers and stuff like that. So I guess to answer a part of your question, I had some nice like step by step, like, you know, so it wasn't like this huge intimidating world, you know, when I got into it first. So I had some basics.
What would you say to somebody who is considering purchasing Ableton and getting into it?
I would encourage it heavily, for sure. It's versatile, and you know, you can do pretty much anything that you can imagine in there. There's nothing that you can't do there that you can do in other programs. I mean, that's, you know, generally speaking, broadly speaking. Yeah.
I am really interested in. I've caught numerous morning sets. You've brought me into the light many times after partying all night at, let's say, Shambhala or something like that, and witnessing you play a morning set, and I feel that you kind of aspire to those morning sets. I'm wondering what it is about morning and those experiences that attract you to those time slots.
It's a very special time of day in the context of you've been up all night. You know, it's a very sensitive time. I feel more like kind of attached to the kinds of what I feel, the kind of music that I want to be listening to, and other people, you know, might want to listen to at those times. It's a little bit more delicate. You know, people are more, you know, you've been up all night, so like edges are frayed, and you know, music can be that much more wrong or that much more right, you know. So the potential is higher in a lot of ways, and I enjoy taking on that challenge, and I like playing what I feel is the right music for that time. You know, and I feel also that like less people are interested in it, so that's one of kind of my guiding things, is like it's not necessarily me that has to be doing something. It's just I want to see certain things done and certain things happen, so I kind of go fill the pockets where I feel they're needed, and there's no shortage of people that want to rock the dance floor prime time, and that's cool. So, you know, I'll go over the morning. And, you know, I kind of get a kick out of like, yeah, you can rock a primetime set, but can you rock a morning set? You know, like, because that's because of that kind of challenge that's there, you know. Yeah, I'm into it.
And yeah, one more question. I don't know the story behind the Cats Only Club. Is that something that you're willing to share, or is it a secret?
It's totally a secret, but I'll tell you all about it. Cats Only Club Starting Now is the official full title. Starting Now is an acknowledgement of the chaos. Cats are the keepers to the doors of chaos. Number 9. And so to say Cats Only Club Starting Now, it's always starting now. That acknowledges the chaos, the paradox. It's always starting now, so it's like, no, that's not right, but it's like, it's a catty thing to say. And also there's, it's cats only, but actually it's very inclusive. It's all inclusive, like the kind of thing in brackets below it that is sort of an invisible statement, or I don't even know what you would call it, and who needs to name it. But all animals welcome. Cats Only Club Starting Now, all animals welcome, you know. And like some people, someone just recently messaged me and they're like, I like what you do, you know. I'm a dog person myself, but I'm still down with. I was like, yeah, I don't know. I get a kick out of that. I mean, I'm not anti-dog. The club itself is not anti-anything. It's like all embracing, and that's kind of a catty thing to say, you know. Paradoxical. Yeah, so it's anything you want it to be and not, and also 100% at the same time.
Thanks, Michael.